This is a video my dad walked in on me. Like, I was doing my homework, all right, and like this is the video my dad came in on me on. So I had to like really explain to him like what the fuck I was. My dad, honest to God, thought that I was watching like a fucking beheading video over here for a second, right? Dream's not in here, is he? I can't see him. So, actually, if Dream is here, it'd be interesting to get Dream on the fucking Discord or whatever and talk to him about it. Don't call him a cheater, guys, okay? Like I said in the beginning, alright? In that whole thing, you can't disprove or prove anybody. It'd be interesting if that's the case, actually. But yes, if Dream is here, we were actually watching the response video, and to be completely real with you, I wasn't completely sold on the whole thing. I feel like it's just a lot of like, it felt like mudslinging on both sides. But you know, if we wanna sit here and kind of discuss it, we can. It'd be. He's gonna have to deal with a shitty microphone, from my end. But. Alright, you guys have to let me know if you hear it.
Oh.
Hey, man, what's up?
How's it going?
It's all going good, man. I finished watching your response thing not too long ago. First off, I want to apologize for completely ghosting you on Twitter. That whole notification. So,
No, that's fine. Yeah, I figured you just didn't see it. I mean, I wasn't thinking about it much.
Dude, I swear I bought an iPhone recently, and like the notification compared to my old Samsung is so fucking terribly bad.
Yeah.
That everything just amalgamates. So anyways, yeah, I watched the entire like sort of thing that you had. So like first real thoughts, I've said it pretty much outright that like you can't prove it one way or another pretty much because like being a computer scientist, like when you got to the point where you talked about like file alteration, I was like, yeah, it's true, but like it's also very easily moddable. So it's like,
no, of course,
it is.
I mean, everything. The thing is, the problem is that and the reason that my original was just so terrible is that I've never really been in a situation where I'm like hopeless, where it's like I can't do anything. Like there's nothing I can say or do that proves me innocent. Or in like another situation, it'll be like, oh, like here you're faking a video and here's a scene that's weird. And I go, oh well, here's an explanation for that. That's exactly proves that this is not true. In this case, it's like there's nothing I can do. So in my mind, it makes me, you know, it feels like I'm backed into a corner. You know what I mean? So it's like.
So I made the point, right, where I was like, you know, realistically, you could have not mentioned it and it would have blown over, right? So I use that as a point to say, like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, when I make the point, I should have elaborated further to the chat over here, that it's like, it's more into the sign of innocence, because it's like, even if you didn't have to mention it, it definitely hit you, because you are a speedrunner first, content creator second, if I'm going to assume first, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing that I mentioned in the video, which isn't really that important, but like obviously I haven't uploaded a speedrun in a long time, and I really, I don't know, I speedrun for fun mostly, and whenever I was doing speedruns, like, and I uploaded to my channel, it was very like the community was much smaller than it is now, and my times weren't that impressive. Like, I mean, they were impressive, but they weren't like that impressive. Like the times that I was doing were like, oh, I'm chopping trees for 10 minutes, and it's like that's in a speedrun now that'd be like a 1,000th place time or something. Like, it's not when I originally started, I was, it wasn't too impressive, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, Jesus Christ, like when you first started the video off, you're like, it's a 1.75 million fucking 1 out of 7.5 trillion chance of getting your way right, and then you provided more statistics. So you ended up getting a fucking PhD from Harvard into this shit?
Yeah, so that's something that I think is obviously there's a lot of people that independently are saying, oh, well, he could be lying about this, and I think to me that's like, it's kind of a ridiculous thing to lie about, like, oh, hey, I got this guy and he's a total fraud and I'm lying about this, or whatever. It seems ridiculous to me. One thing I have thought about doing is sharing his credentials with certain people and sharing his identity with certain people that are sworn to secrecy or whatever. But obviously, when you're talking about something like this, it's going to be seen by potentially 5-10 million people. Like, obviously, you're not going to want to smack your name on it like that. To me, it's like I didn't even mention it, but if he had not mentioned being anonymous, I would have probably said, hey, you should, just because things could happen to to fans online. Like people are crazy.
Well, yeah, you've got fans from your side and people from not your side, and they all just brigade somebody for their exact. So yeah, and anonymity is fucking expected. I mean, I just made the point on I just made the point on video. I'm like, you must have fucking paid this dude a fair bit because you were listing his credentials off. I'm like, shit, man, this fucking dude comes out from Harvard, and it's just like, all right, yeah, I'll debunk it. So he's the one that wrote the new like the PDF file, right? Like the new report.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at this report. It's like recently, like all the drama and shit has been in like a Google Doc, but I gotta give you guys credit over here in the Minecraft community. You guys literally have produced like fucking a PhD research paper of like fucking drama, which like.
Well, I think the Speedrun One team set the standard for that because they did that, So it's something where if I come back with anything less, then I I'm less credible than they are, if that makes sense. So it's kind of become kind of a battle of scientists or
so like all right. So when I was watching your video, I gotta be real, like in the first 4 or 5 minutes, it felt like, yeah, you're giving me numbers and you're giving me like somewhat examples. I mean, like I wish the examples were better presented in it because it's like it felt like a lot of formulas and numbers going above my head. And like I'm pretty decent with math. I'm not a fucking I'm not a statistics guy or anything. My forte was mostly in like calculus and shit from the engineering side. So like when I was going through it, it took me like a little second to process it. But like, okay, so the video itself, and I'm sure you've already heard it, it felt like at the end of the day, it was a very passive aggressive, which again, understandable, right? People are calling your fucking like, character out. You're going to be fucking pissed a bit about it. However, it felt like a big video. Like it felt like the majority of your response on like every single video out there was just, it's like, listen, there's no concrete evidence, but like, fuck these guys, I'm right kind of mentality. I'm getting the same vibe from everything. And I just, that's the one thing. And unfortunately, I can't shake that vibe off because you can never have 100%, conclusive fucking evidence about this kind of shit.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I guess I wasn't going for like oh, fuck these guys. I'm right and they're wrong or whatever. I guess but because of the way, I think this is the core issue, is that I think that usually like when they were, unverify a run or ban somebody or remove a run, it's not like a big thing. Like they don't make a YouTube video about it. They don't make an announcement, but because it's me, they have to, because if they don't and they just do it, then people are going to be pissed. Like all my fans, even whether it's them blindly following me or it's them actually having a reason to be mad, they're just going to get mad. So obviously I feel like they felt like they had to, cement like, hey, this guy is 100% a cheater, and here's why, and here's our explanation. Here's like a detailed video, and here's we spent 2 months editing this, and we spent 2 months on this report, and we had a group of 10 people. So I feel like it kind of forced it to be, my response will have to be even stronger and even more confidence in that way, where there's certain things where I can present things in a way where it's the most digestible to the average person. And my goal was just, hey, math is by far my least favorite subject. It's by far my weakest point in any, I guess, like skill, I guess. Like I suck at math.
Yeah.
And I will openly say that. I suck at math, and everything I've ever said, everything I said in that video in terms of math is just things that I saw or things that I heard from the report. So I'm just relaying information in the way that I think is the most digestible. And obviously, yes, things are tilted or said in my favor because it's my defense video, and that's kind of the purpose of making it defense. But yeah, my intention wasn't to shit on the mods, but it was to say, hey, maybe you just believe everything you're told, whether it's from me or it's from them. You just shouldn't hear it, bunch of data and then go, yeah, this is 100% correct. I don't know if that makes sense, but
fair enough. So I'm sharing my screen to you right now, right? You're seeing like this Reddit post. Have you read this, by the way? Like this whole like Reddit.
I actually DM'd the guy who wrote it. I actually forwarded his thing to the author of the document. So I don't, like I said, I suck at math. I have no idea to refute any of it. I'm sure some of what he said is accurate. I'm sure some of what he said is inaccurate. I don't know enough really to comment. Hey, I forwarded this over to, I forward this. So I forward over to know what he's doing, and I can wait for him to respond. But
so he didn't update it for you or whatever. Your physicist, or
update what?
Update you on this post, or is that still like just running through the?
I this was like an hour ago. I mean, I slept up all night editing and stuff, but yeah, an hour ago I forwarded it to him, and I'm waiting to see what he says, but. I have no idea, and obviously I think that the guy who wrote the post, he does seem seems credible, but also I know the guy that wrote that is author of the original post is also credible, so I know it's kind of like becomes like a kind of situation.
That's sort of the core of it all, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like people who are already looking at this, and I've said this like before you came on, but like people have already made up their mind, right? Like either you're going to be for you or against you or whatever, and that's pretty much what it is. So like since you're here, I think like the biggest banger is like everyone has been tossing. Have you watched this Dark Viper AU video? Like the response?
I did. Yeah, I did. Actually, I wrote a comment on his video. I said, "Hey, you oh yeah," I said, go as hard as you want. Like honestly, I'm telling you that as well. Like I don't care. You know, be as hard as you want. I honestly don't care. I'm open to talking about everything.
All I know is like, so my thing about this is like, all right, fine. The math is something that's just it's going to be one of those things where like, when you provide the evidence, right, in your video, and these people provide the evidence in their video, I think a case can be made that everyone is providing enough evidence to make themselves look better in their respective videos. That's from what I'm gathering.
100%.
So, at the end of the day, right, like, there are so many fucking permutations to all of this. There's so many ways this can be calculated. At the end of the day, right, like, trying to figure this out is going to be hard, because even if it's so hard against your favor, right, like, it could be like 1 out of a 9 trillion fucking chance. And you know what? If you ask me, like, is a 1 out of a 9 trillion chance possible? I'm probably going to tell you, I think you cheated, right? Like, that's just what probability looks like to me.
I said that at the beginning of the video. It's impossible. I mean,
however, to see everyone on the internet who's like, okay, that's a guaranteed cheat. And it's like, at the end of the day, dude, there's still a chance that you didn't. So it's like, you can't definitively go one way or the other. At the end of the day, there's going to be a fucking cheat. There's not going to be a cheat. Then you got to look at the next thing, right? Where you bring in, like, you know, can files be modified? Can, like, you know, all this data. I feel like that was almost a moot point. Like, it felt like a bit deflective in it, because it's like, you're going to have people watching your videos, right? And I want to say that a majority of the people watching your videos are not going to be data science. They're not going to be fucking computer scientists. They're probably going to take everything at face value. They're going to be like, all right, he showed me he showed me metadata, right? And that's enough to, like, sort of calm people over. But then I feel like in that, it's you should have probably went hard. Maybe that point should have overall been omitted, because it's like, it's so easy to spoof and it's so easy to like miscalculate that like to an average like computer scientist who will watch it, they'll be like, all right, I don't know why we need to spend 4 minutes on a point that can easily be disproven in 4 seconds, right? By like anybody.
Well, what I will say is that that's true for the jar file, because I was uploaded recently, and that's something you could potentially go and modify, or obviously I was watching when I came on your stream, you were talking about something about that where you can modify the dates or whatever. But I think that what does hold a little bit more credibility is the world file, and the reason for that is that the world file was uploaded to Google Drive before the investigation even started. 2, the world file was uploaded shortly after the run, because before that I was on good terms with the mod team, so they messaged me and said, hey, can you upload your world file? I was like, sure. I uploaded my world file, I sent it to them, and you can see when it was uploaded on Google Drive. So to me, even though technically could I have potentially edited it? Yes, I could have, but also on Speedrunning.com, if you go to their website and you find their list of things that are talking about how they verify a run, one of the things they say in their document is that world files are extremely hard to keep consistent and change. And so that, somebody could potentially go through and do it, but it's very hard, and it's hard and you get away with it. And so in my mind, the fact that they openly admit that on their website, and I uploaded this file before the investigation, and I did it right after the run was completed, makes in my mind that it was a good enough point to put in the video and say, hey, take of this what you will. I think that this, it doesn't prove that I'm innocent, but it says, hey, this may point to the fact that that piece of evidence that they used in their video, which was talking about the Fabric API, may be irrelevant as well. So it's not necessarily saying, hey, this proves that I'm innocent, but it says, hey, this may cast doubt in your reasoning of, hey, do you think I used a mod? Hey, this may cast doubt in that. But
so going to the Fabric file, right? Like, what you guys did was you assessed a lock file in this case, right? Like, my whole reasoning is when you look at things like lock files, right? It's incredibly easy to manipulate a lock file. So, there's a very possible chance. There's a very real chance that you could have used a mod, right? And you could have easily went to the lock file, removed those lines, right? And I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's not hard to edit that, and it's not hard to modify, and it's not hard to change the time of modification on the file to a metadata level. So, like, anybody that looks at it can say, okay, this file hasn't been tampered with, or that's why we don't really go around with like tampering of files on this computer side, because there's just no concrete fucking way to prove that kind of stuff.
Well, let me say,
go ahead.
I guess the reason I mentioned the file is there's 2 things. So one thing is that you don't need Fabric API to run Sodium or the performance enhancing mods, but I was running Fabric API. Which I admitted to before they knew this, is that they can look in the logs and they can see that I was running Fabric API. So the way that I was thinking, the way that I was thinking when I made the video is, hey, like, why would I guess logically in my mind, I go, why would I not edit out the fact, if I edited that log file, why would I not edit the fact that I was using API, what they claimed is a mod creation tool, but edit out my mod, if I was using a custom mod. So that was kind of my thought process of like, well, if I did edit the log file, why didn't I edit it more and just make it so they couldn't even accuse me of using Fabric API? Because obviously it does Fabric API is
well there is a case to be made that if you modify something, like if it looks pristinely normal, right, obviously it looks way more shadier on your side if you had it completely edited. Like if everyone, like in your video, you're like, everyone uses Fabric, right? Everyone uses these like mod tools to give themselves higher frame rates or like, just get the game running bug free. So it's like if you got rid of that and you were consistently using it before, it'd be just shady on your end to get rid of it. But I mean, that's why removing enough of the information could be kind of believed, right? That's sort of like what I'm getting at this point. I'm not saying that you did it, but it's like when we have literal evidence, that's this circumstantial, right? Where like the thing with all this computer stuff is we can't prove one way or another. We can't be right one way. So we have to like take every single thing into account. Yeah. And that's unfortunately the only way that we can go. So aside from that, when I watched all the responses from every single person, because everyone had their fucking take on it, everyone assumed everything, everyone on the internet either went to hating you or siding with you or whatever. They went to the speedrunning community. They're like, you're absolutely right one way or the other. And with me, I'm like, dude, the evidence, it's just fucking circumstantial. I can't prove it one way or the other. So all I can really come down to is like the interaction between you and the mod team. And it just sounds like it's this hostile, like passive aggressive stuff, which is understandable. I mean, they brought, character into question, and that's going to piss off anybody. But that's really the only thing that's like just...
Yeah, well, when I saw his Viper's response or his reaction to it, and he was mentioning that, saying it was like split personality or whatever. It was two different people. I was like, yeah, you're right, it was, and the reason for that is I guess I'll give a good analogy. I guess I saw a comment about Among Us that was I guess a semi good analogy, but when I was originally getting accused. I obviously, me from my perspective, let's just pretend that you're in my perspective and hey, I'm 100% innocent and you know that, and you're being falsely accused, but you're being falsely accused on the basis of statistics, and you suck at math. So from my perspective, I have nothing that I can say other than like, hey, this must be ridiculous, because there's no way, like, and especially because I understand math enough to know that 1 in 7.5 trillion is impossible, right? Or mostly impossible, to the point where it's not reasonable to believe, a Minecraft YouTuber over, hey, stats that say 7.5 trillion. So in my mind, I'm going, hey, that must be wrong. So what's the explanation for that number being wrong? And my explanation in my mind is, oh, they must be biased. They must be doing this on purpose, whatever. And that's my initial response. And then I sit back and think about it after I have time to think and go, hey, that's probably not what they were doing. They probably, honestly, were trying to do their best job to, keep a cheater out if there was a cheater, and they did analysis on it. And it's not their fault if they made mistakes. And so once I sit back and realize that, then I go, okay, you know what? I was an asshole, and I did stupid things. I said dumb things. But my initial response was respond to this, call them biased and whatever, just because that's how I felt. And that was wrong of me, and I shouldn't have done that. But I don't think it's two different people. I just think it's one person. It's a reasonable person that reacted super poorly at first, and then went, hey, why were you being an asshole? And then stepped back and went, yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
I mean, it's also a response that happened like 12 hours within the actual call out. So yeah, I mean,
there's only one thing. Yeah, that was one thing I didn't like about that he said in his video. That was one thing I disagreed with. So he said it was happening over weeks, and I was like, well, there's only two separate instances where things happened. There was one within like the first 2 hours of the video being released, where I commented on his video and I said some things to him in the Discord which were rude, and I tweeted something out. And then there was one tweet from like a week before then, and I guess there's a whole explanation to all these stuff, but the tweet that I said a week before then was about, hey, it's biased and they shouldn't be looking into it and whatever, and that was dumb. But I also, they hadn't come up with their report yet, so I only after a couple hours after the report was released, that's when I kind of had my moment of realization where I went, okay, maybe this isn't as big as I'm making it out to be. I should just calm down and. I mean,
I feel like in that case, when you put it that way, they kind of just baited this like entire response video out in a way, right? Like they got you to give a over the top emotional response, and now you were kind of like fucking balls in your court, motherfucker. Time to answer the way that we want you to. So yeah, I don't know. It's a situation where like honestly, like I guess
I have further context. This is something else that I don't think anybody really knows. This is that I had asked you. I had a feeling that because GeoSquare has a YouTube channel, obviously, and he on the mod team he ran his YouTube channel before this, and I was thinking, I was trying to think, I was like, how are the mods gonna like, what's the most likely way they go about this? Like, what's the most likely way that they go about posting this? And he had a decent large channel. I thought probably gonna have GeoSquare make a video. I ended up being right, so I messaged him preemptively, saying, like, talking about it and saying, hey, just like, I don't want to escalate things. I don't want to, I know that I already said things on Twitter, but I don't want a video to be made. I would like if we can handle it in private. And his response was something along the lines of, okay, thank you for your advice. Video comes out like 2 days later with no warnings. That's my initial response was also kind of feeling like, what the hell? Like, I was trying to prevent this, and this happened, and now I'm gonna have to be now I'm gonna have to like cause things.
So right there is the thing, right? Like, when you say it like that, it almost sounds like you're just sort of shifting like the blame almost, like GeoSquare, like, you know, how they're like, these guys, I was very cordial dealing with these people, they fucking made the video on me, and it's understandable.
Well, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't cordial dealing with them, but sometimes I was, but other times I wasn't. But.
Well, I don't want to say like behind the scenes, I don't want to like, I don't assume that you were talking shit to him, like, just, you know, just really angry at him on that point, no, but like, you know, obviously I understand the emotion behind it, right? Like, you know, when the fucking fire is lit up your ass and like you're on the spotlight, of course you're gonna make some mistakes. It's gonna happen. Everyone makes those fucking mistakes. But like, I don't know. What's next for this though? Because do you think he's gonna make a response to your response? And I mean, now you've got like two sets of like statistics experts. Like, you got it on Reddit, you got it on like his side, you got the speedrun people. Like, at this point, it's just gonna fucking keep going on.
Well, this was my thing. Is in my video, I said, hey, look, I'm just gonna accept the fact that my run was removed. I don't want to contest it. I don't want to officially go and submit a request or anything to have it put back up. I'm fine with it staying that way. And I also said multiple times in the video that the expert that I consulted with said, hey, you know, there's no one right way to do things. You know, it's fair to have a healthy debate about any statistics and methods and everything. And so my thinking is they're going to come out with some post saying, here's why we believe that ours is more accurate, and here's why we believe that, you know, these are the wrong ways to do things, or, you know, critiquing the report that he made, and then I can come back with a, you know, just maybe a paper on Twitter or something showing what the response is to that, and then just leave it at that. And I think that it's kind of it just becomes a, hey, if you want to believe I'm a cheater, then you can believe I'm a cheater. That's fine. You know, if you want to watch my content because you think it's entertaining, that's fine. I don't think it was a major part of my content, you know, actually going and officially speedrunning, and that's the reason why even the speedruns that were all investigated were done on Twitch and never uploaded anywhere on any of my channels. So that's kind of the mindset I have with just trying to end it, is just being like, you know, if you're on the mod side, you can be on the mod side. But I believe that you should have a reasonable doubt that this is accurate. And when unverifying a run, that's perfectly fine. But when, you know, calling somebody a cheater or attacking them and saying, oh, you were 100 million% cheated, I don't think that's fair. But that's my perspective. So where I'm hoping it ends, I guess. But
so after your response, like, no matter what anybody else is going to say, you're just like content with whatever their final decision is. I mean, obviously, at the end, you don't want to be called a fucking cheater about it, but I don't know what their response is going to be. They're probably they either stop contesting it, they either keep their ground, or they'll double down. You'll never know what the hell is going to happen. So, I mean, shit.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, you'll weather the storm. I mean, fuck it. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, then I'd be like, okay, that's ridiculous. As if they made another video, because I'd be like, okay, make another video, because obviously then you're talking about seeing, because the way the YouTube algorithm works, you're talking about millions of people seeing a video, and then it's like, okay, well now I have to make another video and spend however on it and do all this stuff. So that's the only scenario where I'd be like, okay, this is kind of it's back and forth with us.
They're gonna make another video, so honestly, you should probably fucking prep for that.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will, because I think that their whole thing in regards to the first video is, hey, we're doing our jobs. And at this point, with me saying, hey, I don't, you know, whatever, runs unverified, that's fine. I don't think that there is a reasonable excuse for them to do that outside of, you know, with them still being able to say the same thing of, hey, we're just doing our job. And then it kind of becomes more of a, hey, we're proving Dream wrong, versus like, hey, we're just doing our job as speedrun moderators. But I don't know. I don't know what they'll do. I wouldn't expect them to make another video.
I mean, there's just a lot of statistics. Honestly, at this point, I feel like what's better is if like you and the speedrunning community just like, I mean, at this point, I'm so invested into this that I'm willing to just get a third party myself and like have it independently analyze your entire, like, no speedrunning community, no you, just have like an independent third party just check this out and form our own fucking opinion. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, man. Like, if you ask me about your video and his video, that's another thing I didn't think of, right? Because like we're literally just getting like we're getting like results and algorithms from each party that is like invested into it, right? Like, look, I'm not gonna fucking jump into the conspiracy theory bandwagon, but it's like, listen, obviously on each side of the wagon, you're experts. You know, they're. It's not like you're gonna get an expert that's gonna fucking write a report that says, yeah, fuck you, by the way, you're wrong, and then you'll publish that. Like, let's be real, that's not gonna happen. Same thing for the speedrunning community. So it's like, it's probably better if we just had like a third person, like a third independent party, like just fucking sit, vet this out, and then like post their results. And you know, after all of that, fuck it. If people want to believe you or they don't, that's really what it comes down to. But at least that those facts have been independently verified, they have been checked, and nobody can do anything. Nobody.
Yeah,
can,
I think the only problem with all of this is that, like, even if you get it, like, let's say you get an independent party and let's say they say, oh, the odds are 1 in 100,000 or something ridiculous, or obviously it would never be. Like, I feel like there's no point with like statistics where you can just take something. Because there could just be another independent third party that goes, oh, well, no, his is wrong. And then another independent third party goes, no, his is wrong. And I think that the reason that it's so complicated is that there's no one right way to do things. So the things that they say are most favorable in their opinion. And so there could be someone else's opinion that says, well, this is the most favorable, or this is the most favorable. And because the whole thing is that you're not talking about the number. Like, the default number cannot be debated. It's something insane. It's like 1 in something trillion that would happen. But the thing is, what are the odds that you would see it happening is what they're trying to calculate. And so you're trying to factor in all these different bias. What are the odds of us seeing this? What are the odds of it happening to a speedrunner? What are the odds that it happened with 2 different pieces of RNG, the blaze rods and ender pearls? What are the odds? And you're trying to, it's all these specific things that are like insanely hard to actually calculate together and get a correct odds of. And so it's always going to be debatable. And so my point with my video, which I guess I didn't make a good enough point of, is like, hey, yeah, don't trust any of this. And I tried to have a lot of parts of the video where I said statistics are hard, statistics are complicated, they're misleading. They can, you can make, I think someone said, there's like a quote where it's like, if you torture the numbers enough, they'll lie, or if you torture the numbers enough, they'll do what you want, or something like that. And that's kind of, I think that is the truth. So even with an independent third party, I'm sure there's 100 other independent third parties which disagree with them, and then the same for them, and the same for them. And it's just like a never-ending cycle, which is why I'm kind of hoping that the end ends up just being, hey, look, you can interpret it as you will. I don't care enough to, get into a 10-year debate on whether or not, there's statistics. I know that I didn't cheat, and that's why I'm confident enough to say, hey, I think if the stats are looked into enough, that there can be a flaw that's discovered, even bigger than the ones that are mentioned in the report that I make, because I think that even those numbers seem ridiculous high to me, even though they could be true.
Right.
And so I'm just going, hey, you know what? People want to look into it as much as they want. That's fine. Everyone can look into it. I hope people do.
So this is what your response really should have just been, right? Like, when you watch your response, okay, and the point is, when we watch your response, we'll hear all the jokes and we'll hear like the lighthearted and the deflection, or at least that's what people see, right? Like, it feels like it's like, believe me first, believe this person last. If all your response was literally just providing those numbers and then telling people literally what you just told me, like, hey guys, the numbers I provided you are done under a control study I did. They did their own study. We could have like 10 people do their own variances of a study and we would get to the same fucking conclusion, that it is impossible to prove whether I cheated or I didn't, right? Now, at the end of the day, right? Like, all your response really should have just been is like, listen, you're either going to believe me or you won't believe me. Right?
But you know how YouTube works. Like, you can't do that. Like, and that's the thing.
That is true.
I know how YouTube works, and I know that if I do that, people are like, all the haters are just going to be like, well, see, the only reason he's saying that is because he has no proof he didn't cheat. And so it's like, it just becomes this thing where I'm kind of forced into something that I don't want to do. Like, if I was, before all of YouTube, if I was just making a response to this, like in normal life, that is the exact response I would have. It would just be, hey, take it as you will. I didn't cheat. I'm sure that there is a more accurate statistical analysis that shows that I didn't cheat. And you can go to, hundreds of different people that all have different responses. But the problem is that you can't, like, in the way YouTube works nowadays, and the way YouTube has worked for a long time, is you can't do that. Like, you just can't. Like, you can't just say, hey, it's he said, she said, and just believe me, because then people are gonna tear apart that and say, well, we shouldn't believe you. Who are you? Who are you to believe? And so it just becomes, it's better to present it in a favorable way to me, where I say, hey, here's the evidence that I believe points to the fact that I'm innocent.
Yeah, but like that. Okay, so you just said present it in a favorable way, but like, dude, the haters who, if a hater comes to your channel, they're not people that are sitting there like, I'm gonna watch a dream video and I'm gonna watch his response, and if he is right without a shadow of a fucking doubt, I'm gonna switch my sides. I'm gonna fucking vote for him, right? Those guys who just clicked on your video,
which is the problem.
Well, like, okay, those guys who have clicked on you, the people that follow them are already of the like hive mind, right? Like, I look at them kind of like some fucking Metal Gear Solid 4 hive mind. Like, they all operate and function the same fucking way. The moment they clicked onto your response video, they were like, fuck Dream, fuck his response. I'm gonna watch all of this, and I'm gonna fucking leave a dirty fucking comment and dislike. So it's like, you could have presented it that way, and if they were gonna talk that way, fuck them. All right. At the end of the day, like, the response, because here's what the response isn't. Here's the target audience. It's me, and it's everyone who actually comes into the response, and it's like, all right, let's see a level-headed, non-emotional response. Let's see the facts presented, and let's get some understanding of what these facts mean and what they are. And like, a week, month down the line, when you get all the haters and the emotional idiots removed from the situation, you come out on top. Versus now that you release this fucking response, you still obviously came out on top in the grand scheme of numbers, but like now they still have that element to pick apart. So the entire idea of like, you can't do this. Well, yeah, you can't do it, but since you did it the way that you did, ultimately I don't see any progression in like, the route that you were headed, so to speak.
Oh yeah, right? I think it's the problem of trying to appeal to both. Like you have to appeal to people who are in the middle, but you also have to appeal to people on your side, because the problem before this was that, like, the reason I had to make a response in the first place, and that I can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to ignore this and say, yeah, guys, believe what you want, is because if you don't present an argument for yourself, then the only argument that is being heard is the argument that's opposed to you. So people are, if I were to just say that and say, take it as you will, someone who said something like, oh, we believe you, which the replies to them would just be full with, you believe him, how dumb are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's something that you can't, like, it's hard to avoid that. And so I think making a video in a way where, it targets both people, where, hey, people in the middle will understand, hey, well, this is a little biased towards Dream, but also go, oh, but I see what he's saying. I agree with parts of his video.
That's the win, right? Because like even the people on your side who are going to come into the video positively, they're never going to be converted, dude. They're like, it's YouTube at this point. The internet is kind of like a religion, right? Like, look, I've made mistakes on YouTube, right? Like, I mean, you go months back into the line, right? I made a big mistake. Me and Ethan Klein had a fucking deal, right? I was clearly wrong in the situation, but people that were on my side, they were like, yeah, fuck Muta, he was right all along. Dude, it doesn't matter. On the internet, anybody that wants you to be right will make up every fucking tale in the world to believe that you are right.
Yeah,
however, that's not who you cater to. That's the last person you cater to, because those people, they lead you in the wrong way. They lead you into a terrible way of thinking. They inflate your ego to the point that you actually will make really big mistakes, right? It starts snowballing. You can't focus on the haters exclusively because you'll never be able to convert them. Fuck those guys. They walk into an entire video knowing full well that they hate you. Anybody in that situation months back who came into a video, it's like, yeah, fuck Muta, I hate this guy. YouTube has a great feature audience. You can like click on anybody's profile and see how many comments and like all the videos they checked on you now. Anybody who literally came onto that video to say shit about me, and that was it. There was no converting it. The only thing that you can do is present the facts normally, level-headed, and just appeal directly to the middle ground. Had you just done that, your entire response would have been like unfucking touchable. Like anybody on the internet that would have made a response to your response, it would be like, it would just be like pyrocynical. Anybody that's providing anything to him right now is just getting fucking shat on, and it's like an entire like minefield. You win 100% in that case, and you don't have to worry about anything else.
I don't know. I see what you're saying. I agree with the whole There's a large subset of fans that will just believe me no matter what, or will believe certain things no matter what, and that's that's why I'm more referring to people who watch my content, but maybe not are fans, but just watch my content, enjoy it, and that are enjoy my content. And I think that I just think in this case it's a little different, because it's like cheating in a speedrun, which obviously is a big deal, and I think people do care about that thing a lot, especially like in the speedrun community. And I think I don't think my argument would have been as untouchable as you're saying if I had just presented what I'm saying now. And then again, even if they go and rebuke this math, then I can always make another video where I do exactly what you just said. The point is getting it out of the way at first. That way people understand, hey, here's the misconceptions about this previous video. Here's what I think they got wrong. Here's my point of view. And yes, obviously my point of view is going to be biased, because if there's some kind of rebuttal, or at least some statistics, and people seem to go, hey, look, well, part of the math was wrong or whatever, then I can make another response saying, well, the guy said again, but go on, a 10-minute talk about, like, look, believe what you want. I think that there's no real right answer. This is really complicated to do. We can get 10 independent experts that will say 10 different things. And I think that is fair response. But, I think that's not the response that they took, and that's not the response that I took. I had to take a different response because of the way they responded, which I guess is my thing. I think it's hard to there's so many different variables that it's hard to just be completely objective, because the internet is like such a subjective place where everyone has their own opinion. You kind of have to, otherwise you're going to end up on the losing side of almost every argument you get into online, I guess. But
right.
I guess that's just my though, and I think that everyone has a different perspective on how drama should be handled or whatever.
Well,
but
I mean, at the end of the day, what's different about this drama specifically is that like the stakes in this case isn't, I would say, necessarily the hardest. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not like somebody is accusing you of being like a groomer or some shit like that, right? Like at the end of the day, this is Minecraft, right? This is a video game. This is a speed run. Like, yeah, sure, we're bringing the question of speed running into the mix, right? And yeah, it's sure, if you're on that extreme end of the internet, I'm sure people over there are gonna fucking have a shrine against you by tonight. But like, when you look at the stakes of it, it's not that high. So I think being objective would have been still the smarter case. And I'm still gonna side on the fact that you have to be on the fucking the objective side, because like, look, a month down the road, if you had just been objective now, you would have won the entire thing. And like now you're gonna have like, obviously there's gonna be a bunch of channels who are gonna make like 30 fucking videos about this tomorrow and shit, right? When at the end of the day, like, had you have just been completely objective, you just provided the results, because like, had you just done that to begin with, this whole thing would have been dead, buried with, done with tonight, no issues about it. But now what you did is you provided the ball to go back into their court, and now they're going to fucking run another analysis. They're going to provide more numbers, because like when you provide an emotional mix into it, right, they're going to read it way harder than me, right? Like when I looked at your response, I noticed like deflection. I was like, okay, you're really fucking bringing them into question. Now imagine it from their perspective. They're going to watch your video and it's like, yeah, fuck this guy. Look at what he's doing. He's like fucking shitting on us. Now that motivates them to literally tonight sit down and make the other video right on you. So it's like the whole, I guess what you were trying to aim for may very well like backfire on you with how they respond to you later on, because what's the end game of this? They're gonna refine the results. They're gonna present it in a certain way that when people watch the video, be like, oh shit, okay, they're fucking right. I mean, we're talking about statistics in this case. I guarantee 0.5% of the fucking audience watching even understands what the hell we're saying. So shit, I'm just going to believe you because you're saying all the buzzwords and you're really smart about it. That's really what it comes down to. So,
but like I said, then it just becomes, you know, then I sit down and make a video, but I actually have more time this time. Like the problem with this is that like the report wasn't done until like yesterday, 2 days ago or something. Like I was trying to get the video out as soon as I possibly could. Obviously, my reputation online is getting tarnished around people spamming everywhere. There's videos everywhere, like you mentioned, and so. I was like, I need to get this video out. And if I had time to, you know, sit there for, you know, like my normal videos and take weeks where I sit there and actually, you know, do professional editing and make sure everything's perfect, make sure my, you know, my script is perfect, and make sure that everything is good for this video. That way I can put it out in the perfect way. Then it would have been much better. And I think that if they do make a response, then the next time I will take more time, because I recognize, hey, that's the next time my response will be less important to get out quickly. And so I can have multiple statistical analysis by multiple experts and have you know, maybe a longer, more edited, animated video or something. Like I feel like it's something where it just becomes a video battle where it's like they say these stats and then I say, hey, well, no, look, here's these stats. And that's why I think in the next one, if I do make a video about it, I would just present, hey, look, it can go any way. I don't really care. Just think what you want. But here's why I think that it's not fair to come to the conclusion that there's no chance in any universe that I cheated. And I guess I think that I don't think that my video hurt the ability to do that. I just think that it delays the drama a little bit. And that,
well, if they make another video, then I suppose the next video you'll make just has to be completely objective in that case, and that's how you just fucking end it right here, right now. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, no, that's really what it is, man. I mean, I don't know what more anybody can have on this. I think we'll find out more, well, tomorrow, you know, from all the other channels that have a take on this, from potentially Geosquare and everyone else, because he's already like tweeting out fucking posts from that r/statistics, right? So there's dude, any attempt
like, Geosquare doesn't understand statistics any more than I do, most likely. Like I don't know too much about the guy, but I think he's around my age, and I don't think he's so I don't know what he's tweeting out. But the problem is that there's a lot of people, like there's only, I think even on the mod team, there's a few people that are very, very good at wrote the report that are extremely qualified and stuff. But there's also plenty of people that you know, that aren't very good at math or that are just involved creating a Minecraft speedrun forum. So I don't know.
Well, I think we're already kind of fucked. Are you reading this that I'm sharing right now?
What?
I'm sharing it to you. I think the hope that they weren't going to respond, that it was going to end right there, is pretty much done,
I think
man.
They'll respond.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
respond.
I don't think they'll do a video.
Oh, they're gonna do a video. You know the algorithm.
I think they'd be making.
You know the
algorithm.
They're gonna make that video, brother. They're gonna fucking. Right now, they've got Premiere open. They've got fucking GeForce recording.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they're like they're supposed to be I think that making the video would prove my point. That's why I think it'd be a bad idea for them, because I think that I mean, next year and go, well, what point of that video? Like, yes, you could have just released a report in the speedrun community and expressed the things you want to express if you want to, but making their video, like, all they're doing at that point is just, oh, we're making another, then I'm gonna have to make another video, and it's gonna go on and on. Like, yes, I think the video would get tons of views, obviously, but the thing is, I don't know. I think they're smart enough to not do that, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess it really depends on what'll happen, but yeah.
Well,
I think that there's always different perspectives on everything, and I think it'll to, you know, you either believe me or you don't, and I think that's what
it comes down to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm gonna firmly believe that no matter what evidence you or GeoSquare or anybody from any team provides, there's always going to be a very reasonable shadow of doubt on everyone's character and integrity in this entire situation. So all I can really imagine is it should probably just be ended, you know, so everyone can just move past it in the Minecraft and speedrunning community. However, with that said, though, I'm gonna totally take some of the sides on the speedrunners in this case, because even though that they started, or like they brought this drama to the front, speedrunning has always been an incredibly fucking speedrunning has always been like, whenever you're popularizing these massive games, shaving off a second means like a fucking world record pace or whatever, right, for a lot of these people. So everyone involved in this community, like Dark Viper, I know that he does GTA 5 speedruns, and I, as far as I know, I haven't watched the guy like crazy, but he's like, what, top GTA 5 speedrunner at this point, like one of the top. I mean, when you look at a game as popular as he's doing, he's got to shave seconds off of his time. So for them to get that into it and to like really bring this up, I mean, this is just the integrity of the speedrunning community. That's pretty much what it is. So they might make a video on the basis that, you know, this is to them, this is a massive deal, right? Like, obviously to a grand majority of the people watching, like, fuck it, who cares if you shave like a second off? And to be real with you, even if you faked it, right, I'm not claiming it one way or the other, if you did fake it, I understand, at least from an entertainer perspective, right? Like, you're streaming a game live, and like, obviously the case that people make, it's like, Dream must have hacked so that his streams are more enjoyable. I mean, that's a valid fucking argument.
But it's also like, but it's also one of the things where, like, I get half as many views speedrunning as I do doing other things.
True.
Like, if I wanted to give a more entertaining stream, I just wouldn't speedrun. Like, I'd do something else, because speedrunning is a much smaller community, with a much smaller audience than like just playing on like a survival server or something. It's so much smaller that I think that argument kind of falls flat. And then if those things are arguments, then my argument is that if I would have cheated, I would have done it a million times better than this. I can give you a list of like 1,000 things you could probably get away with without the mods ever having any idea. And so if someone's going to give the argument of, well, he probably cheated on stream doing this because of the fact that he wants to make his videos more entertaining or streams more entertaining, it's like, well, then you kind of get into more subjective arguments where it's like, well, then why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Whatever. I think that's where you should, like you said, be objective. Like, I think it's more fair to argue the objective things where it's like, hey, the stats speak for themselves, or here's our opinion on the stats, which I guess isn't entirely objective, but it is mostly.
I honestly feel like we need to not have the statistics just checked if the response is made. Not only the statistics being checked, but like what you're saying right now needs to be brought into the video. And maybe like what you're saying right now, like I'm not saying take the emotion out of it. No, I'm just saying like present that the way that you just did right now. So it's like completely objective, right? Like, listen, if the argument that people are saying that I'm trying to make my streams entertaining, you literally told me like you got half the views streaming. Have you just mentioned that in a video? Like, it's like, all right, that's a pretty good fucking claim. I wouldn't fucking do, like, I know stuff on my channel that gets me like what, nothing compared to like other stuff. I understand the point, right? Like, I understand the argument.
I put it on the screen in the video. I put it on the screen, and it had the stats for my YouTube videos, and it was like 3. And out of my last 50 videos, they rank like 41st, 40th, and 29th, or something like that. I don't know. It's something around there where it's like they're not. Like, they're very low.
YouTube is so fickle that honestly, had you made that an audio point instead of a video point, would have flown by way better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's way less people that are watching the video. They just have it on audio while they're playing a game on their side. Dude, it's like, that's the problem with the whole YouTube game, right? Like, the fucking videos, you gotta get all your juicy points out in, like, fucking 3 minutes. Otherwise, like, people start dropping off.
That's why I think
like
the next time
it's just tough.
It'll be way more put together. Like, if I have to make another response, it'll be way more put together. I'll have much more time to make sure that I make all the argument. And also, like, there's some things where, like, that was a point that I realized, hey, I should make this point while editing the video, which is why I added it as text. And then I'm like, I don't have time to go and re-record this and add it in and get more stuff to edit, and because I want to get this video out as soon as I can. Whereas if next time I have time, I can sit there and go, hey, here, this is their argument. How can I dismantle this objectively? And I think that's something that I'll definitely be able to do, which is why I really do want it to end. It's hard to say. It's obviously it's keen of me to say that after I just make my response, but I'm just saying I do want it to end, and it's kind of had to make a response obviously when a video has 2.7 million views, accusing me of something, and it's not even really about necessarily the cheating. Like, honestly, like if I was cheating in order to make my streams more entertaining, that's something that, like, people who know me know that I would just be like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, sorry that was wrong. Blah blah.
Yeah,
but in
sorry,
my case,
that sucked ass.
It's more that it's more that people that if I'm being dishonest, then I'm lying to people. Then I'm not only am I lying to people, I'm lying to my fans. I'm lying to people that support me and saying I'm being misleading and manipulative and blah blah. If I'm guilty, and I think that's more important than just, hey, the speedrun, a speedrun's fake or a speedrun's not fake or whatever. I think it's more like, hey, is this person a dishonest person, or are they an honest person? Versus did this person cheat in a block game versus did they not? I don't know.
Like, so, all right, they're gonna make a response. Let's conclude all of this out real quick. They're gonna make a response. We know that, whether it be a video or a text or another long fucking statistical PhD analysis on the entire subject. There's gonna be a response. So of course that's gonna get another response from you, because with the internet, you got to get the last fucking word in, right? Or at least, sort of toe the line as much as you can. So obviously the next response from you, pretty much exactly what we talked about. Try to make it completely 1,000 fucking % objective as much as we can, and pretty much just leave it at that. And, like, at the end of the day, it goes back to what I said. You've got 3 groups of fucking people watching this shit, right? You've got the fucking people that hate your fucking guts, and they're like, fuck Dream, he's wrong about everything. I'm never gonna fucking fuck those people. You're gonna have the ones who are like, Dream is 100% right about it all. I'm gonna fucking worship my Dream plushie or whatever the hell is out there. And then you've got the people in the middle, the rational, level-headed ones who are like, all right, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to understand a couple things, I'm going to see, what's right and what's wrong. And those are the people that ultimately you convince, and that's it. And as long as you just focus on that and you win it, dude, I don't see anybody going hard on you on a fucking second response. But
I think once time passes, I think obviously at first it'll be the talk of the town for a week or whatever, and then after that, like, I already noticed, like, even after, like, at this point before I posted this video, I noticed things had slowed down substantially. I was getting far fewer comments and not many at all, and like my Reddit was back to normal, and now it's a hellhole again. But I think I think things that generally with time,
Oh, they disappear with time. It's just really how you handle it in that moment that pretty much cements you going forward, right? Like, I can go back to, like, moments where I had, like, fucking, fuck ups on the internet, and I could have definitely doubled down, but I always found out that not doubling down and understanding, like, all right, it's time to just, sometimes it's better to, like, not go emotional into it and just be objective and, like, learn to give your side while also accept the shit ton of criticisms that the middle, like, class of your viewers are giving you.
Yeah.
And in time you come out on top, and not only do you come out on top, but you just come out as a better creator and a better, like, I think you grow more as a person by doing that, and that's pretty much all you have to do. But that's pretty much it. Like, there's not much more to this, man. Like, it's all what it is.
I agree.
It's a block game, all right. To honestly, the funniest fucking thing to me is just seeing all the statistical analysis, because it really made me feel like I was back in college again. Like, just like I was writing the exact same fucking PDFs for fucking professors, and now I'm seeing this shit elevated to a level of YouTube drama that I've never seen before. Honestly, if anything, the drama is probably the most positive fucking kind of drama on the internet, because, like, at the end of the day, like I said before, stakes are relatively, like, low, and people are going to move past it. And at the end of the day, right, like, it's really just down to, like, he said, she said, but down to a statistical element of a block game. So You know, anybody that didn't agree with you was never going to agree with you to begin with, and anybody that agrees with you was always going to agree with you to begin with. And all you really have to do is go with the middle class of YouTube and see how they deal with
it is really funny putting it into perspective and looking at things, being like, oh, look where what this is all stemming from and where it came from. And it's pretty.
Dude, years ago in the Minecraft community, we had to deal with fucking like rumors and shit, and now we have to deal with statistical probability. So. Yeah. I say that the entire community has elevated to a much more positive fucking element than it has before. So
yeah, I saw people mentioning because like I said in the video, like, I don't plan on speedrunning for the leaderboards anymore, and people are like, oh, it makes him seem guilty, or why wouldn't he defend that? I'm like, to me, it's just not worth it. Like it's just not. It's a pass. I mean, I can still do it offline, and I have even recently because it's good practice. But like, it's just not like when that's something that you can get accused for, and that you know could make you look really bad, that you can't really say anything about, and that it's completely out of your control. And so I'm like, I'd rather have a good YouTube career. I'd rather just completely, you know, not make that even an opportunity for somebody, you know, a team of people to be like, hey, look, this guy who's submitting to our boards, we're banning him or we're removing him. And so from I guess it's not. That's why I think it's going to be a new chapter. I think I'm whatever, move on, keep doing my thing. I mean, like I said, I've only uploaded 3 videos ever of speedruns, and I think it's YouTube. It's just important to my character, so I mentioned that in the video. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens, but I'm gonna try and do it objectively. That's why one of the things I think I will do is over the next couple of days I'll try and interview with people. I guess talk to people, that anyone who wants to, really, that you know that made reviews or reactions or whatever. Just because I feel like that's a good way where some misconceptions be cleared up. There's like a lot of things that he mentioned in his video where like I cut things off, or there's things that I did in the video that can be seen as misleading, that I can just explain, well, here's why I did that in editing, and here's my reasonable reason, and you can disagree if you want or whatever. And I think that's why I think Dark Viper would be a cool person to talk to, because he can go ham on me and say, oh, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Say what you want. I just want to give
all I know is I went harder on you because of like calling out your, you know, computer science like points into the video. Like I personally feel like the 4 or 5 minutes point that you made with like computer sciences and like, you know, block files and like it's so like I will always sit down and die on the hill believing that like it's so irrelevant because it can be so easily modified and so easily, you know, fluffed up. But like now it's going to be interesting. You've had this chat with me. I feel like you were just fucking cordial about it. Like, dude, honestly, if you just responded the exact same way you did in this call, bro, the entire internet would be in a different fucking like the entire everything would be different. You know what I mean? It's like some fucking butterfly effect type shit. So now if you talk to Dark Viper, because he's like a fucking speedrunner, right? Like obviously you and him are speedrunners. You guys know about like every fucking optimization and like how it works. I've never speedran a game in my fucking life. Unless you call Deus Ex, you know, speedrun worthy. I just feel like I played that game like 100 times in my life, so I just know everything about it. Now that you discuss it with him, dude, he's gonna fucking he'll be fine.
Well, I have no idea if he even wants to talk. I asked him. I have no idea.
You're telling me he doesn't want to talk to the man currently trending the algorithm? Come on.
Well,
come on.
I think it's also, if he thinks I'm like this manipulative asshole, then it is like it's one of those where. You really want to give a platform to that type of person? I think that.
Oh, dude, if he didn't, you are speaking from the honorable side of YouTube. That is long fucking dead. That is a long dead side of YouTube. They'll say all the shit. They'll be like, Dream is a fucking asshole, and I hate this man. But the moment you give them a chance, it's like, oh fuck, now I can create a video and title it. Talk to dude. You're literally paying for like fucking just the algorithm boost on that side. Nobody's gonna reject it. It is.
Well, I think he's much less likely to reject it if I just tell him, be yourself, go ham on me. I don't care. You can to my face call me an asshole. I don't care. I'll still sit there and interview with you because I think everyone has their own opinion, whether they think I'm an asshole or they think I'm a perfect human being or whatever. Like I think that everyone's gonna have their perspective, and I'm fine with whoever.
Well, no one's a perfect human being, obviously. And you're definitely way far from a fucking asshole. So I think there's definitely some fucking middle ground here, and I think you'll be just fine, man. Like it's what it is, dude. This is gonna be like, the thing about this whole drama is like, if you just don't stoke it for like 48 hours, everyone just moves on to the next fucking thing. Like if we just open up the Twitter trending list right now, it's different every like 15 minutes. No, everyone just follows some other stupid bullshit. Like right now, Joe Exotic is fucking trending. So, we're switching off every 15-20 minutes.
Thank you for having me, and I will say I have enjoyed some of your content in the past, and that's how I saw your your video on stands, which is why I ended up DMing you. The one that you rudely ignored. No.
Dude, I'm gonna write a dirty message to Apple tonight. Feel like you fucking destroying my notifications.
Yeah, I thought that video that you did was incredibly objective and really well made and everything. And yeah, I think you saw my DM about my reply to that. But yeah, I think I've enjoyed. I think you're a cool guy, which is why I thought I'd come on here. And I was watching your stream and I was like, oh shit, he's watching this.
Well, I enjoy your content. Everything goes, both ways. Thank you for even showing up here. Thank you for having a good time. And yeah, no, I'm glad we definitely talked about it. I feel like we learned some more things, and we all, I feel like this is just a fucking great development. So this is just good. I like it. Yeah, this has been nice. So
all right,
thank you. All right, man.
Have a happy holidays.
Yeah, you too, man. Happy holidays as well. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. What a guy. Well, boys, that was fun. So, I gotta be real with you. I feel that Leafy is back and Weefy raided your chat. It's always fucking Leafy, dude. It always somehow comes back to Leafy. So that was interesting. So I gotta be real with you. I don't feel like I went light on him at all. I definitely said that one of his, one triage of his points, one pillar of his entire points, I feel like were just unnecessary and didn't hold any weight. I will say, there's just no way to fucking conclude any of this. There's no way to really get down to it. But I am foreseeing a juicy response to him from the speedrunning guys. He says that it would be a mistake for them to do. They're gonna make that. They're gonna make that decision. They're gonna make it happen, and that's just pretty much what it is. So, the dream cheat. Honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't know what to believe or what not to do. I think he might have or he might not have. The problem is it's just completely fucking impossible to prove one way or another. If he did win, if he didn't cheat, he is one of the fucking luckiest streamers, one of the luckiest people speedrunning the fucking game. So, the conclusion here is he either cheated or he's just really fucking lucky. And if you look at Dream's channel and you look at how he's progressing, he might just be one of the luckiest motherfuckers right there. So, anyways.